Hi Sagittarius, I hope that everybody's doing well. Before we get into this, I'd like to set the intention for this to be a space where everyone allows themselves to feel seen and validated, and ultimately for this to be a safe space and a healing space in alignment with everyone's highest good. There's a sense of having been in your head about something and then coming out of that space. You could have been worrying if something that you'd been doing was going to pay off for you. I'm looking at the Tower here. Could have been worrying if something was going to be returned to you. I'm also hearing. Very interesting. So I'm looking at something that happened quite unexpectedly, and then immediately after that I'm looking at an opportunity. For some of you, this is related to work. It's a job opportunity that you're receiving. You could have been wondering if something that you were doing was going to pay off for you, and this can be something financially based that you were doing, wondering if you were going to be compensated, things along those lines, and then it's like out of nowhere some type of opportunity opens up for you. I'm seeing that that's part of what the surprise is, but something else could have occurred as well. Like for some of you, I'm seeing that you weren't expecting this opportunity that opens up for you, and there may have been also other stuff that was unknown and surprising that you were going through. For others of you, it's just the fact that you're getting a job opportunity that surprises you. You may feel like you were kind of picked out of a crowd for this. It's like someone could have spotted you. I'm also hearing headhunter. Interesting. Yeah, it was like somebody sought you out specifically. And they want you to come work with them. This can be a company. For some of you, you could have even applied for something and been like, I don't think I'm gonna get it, and then you end up getting it, something like that. I'm hearing out of the blue. Yeah, I'm seeing this be something you really weren't expecting. Something you were not expecting. And you could have been worrying about finances too prior to this happening as well. Not anymore though. Yeah, whatever it was that you were worried about, I'm seeing that you're not going to be worrying anymore. Yeah, for some of you, this was for sure being caught up, being like all up in your head about money or your home situation, something like that, something affecting like your livelihood in some type of way, finances, like a bunch of 3D stuff is what I'm seeing here. But it's like, I'm seeing you really pull your act together here, and it's like, while you're like putting the work in, doing what it is that you're doing, something surprising happens. Something comes through that you're not expecting at all, Sag. Wow. Yeah, I'm seeing this be a successful tower. Whatever this is, it leads you to something really important. I'm hearing I got it. Yeah, for some of you, you were for sure waiting to hear back. Something like that, and you get the good news. This has to do this is like reputationally based. I'm also hearing it has something to do with like the way that you've already been working and building on something, and like because you seem solid in that way, I'm seeing it's very much because of what it is that you're doing. Like I'm seeing something that you've worked really hard for. Like something that you've really grown into as far as what you've been doing. So, I mean, if you are like really taking a look at everything you've done, I feel like it wouldn't be that surprising to an outsider looking in that you're getting this opportunity, because I'm seeing that like the perception of who you are when you're doing your work is like this very I'm hearing promotional. I'm also hearing professional. It's like the way that people see you when you're doing your job, it's like a very respectable thing that you're doing. I'm also hearing well-rounded. Yeah. Like other people in the field or like looking in on you would definitely perceive you as being extremely professional, and I'm also hearing diligent. But like you may not be so much like into seeing yourself like that, or maybe it's just not something that you even think about, but I'm seeing this is for sure how you're perceived. Like people definitely really respect you, Sag. And like that is also what is seen. Yeah, I'm seeing you truly made this opportunity come to fruition for yourself. I'm hearing you took it and you ran with it. Like I'm seeing all of the success that you have is because of the hard work that you've put in, because of the consistency that you've put in as well. And it's like, even though this opportunity is coming through for you, this is something that you co-created as well to allow to come to fruition. And it's something that took a lot of patience too, to figure out how to do this. You could have also been waiting for some time. It's like continuously manifesting and being consistent with what it is that you're working on, while learning and continuing to give as much as you're giving, and also being patient with this process right now. And maybe for some of you to hear back from this person. Aries is really sticking out to me here. I'm looking at Aries, Mars, Mercury, and Sagittarius. Could be dealing with another Sag. Mercury and Sag. Wow. I'm seeing the king. There's like, there are three people here that I'm looking at. I'm looking at the Queen of Swords, the King of Cups, and the Queen of Cups right next to the King of Cups. I'm hearing a myriad of approaches. Maybe you feel like you're phasing out through different stages is what I'm hearing. This may be like somewhat of an emotional process that you're going through. I'm trying to figure out what the relevance of this is. Hold on one second. This kind of feels like throughout the process of maybe even waiting for this to happen, it kind of seems like you've gone through a bunch of things on the emotional standpoint and like made personal progress, because I'm seeing that at the beginning you could have felt like, because of the worrying that was happening, there were like also blockages in the heart space that were that needed to be worked on. For some of you, this is financial blockages, and there's a sense of, like, in order to protect yourself, knowing better how to set boundaries and to speak out, and knowing that, like, the more, I'm hearing the word consecrated, the more deliberate you are and the more conscientious you are with communicating what it is that you need to communicate, and the more keenly you're listening as well. I'm seeing that there's something as well that happens simultaneously as you're working on remaining balanced regardless of what is going on too. So this is like being very I'm hearing fine pointed with your words, and also like no matter what struggles or what chaos or surprises or anything that comes that would kind of rock the boat, so to speak, I'm seeing you like remaining very level throughout this process. And I'm also getting to that because of the way that you're taking care of yourself, your heart space being like open and vulnerable, and also protecting yourself in the ways that you know how. There's also a sense here of being more in touch and being more open in anticipation for this offer that's coming through. And it kind of feels like you've gained a sense of stability and been able to provide that for yourself because of these things that you've worked on. That's what it feels like. It's like before you may have been closed off to certain things, but because of working on yourself here, it's allowed you to open yourself up to possibility. For some of you, you're making an offer to someone. For others of you, you're receiving this. You may have gone through some hardships as well that took you stepping more into your energy, where you felt you could more authentically communicate, or at least felt more comfortable doing so, or more actively took the approach to be doing that. So, zodiacs again, I'm looking at Mars, I'm looking at Aries, Mercury, and Sagittarius. There could have been something that was kind of pulling you back. I'm hearing into the memory field. There could have been nostalgia, dreams, things like that. Things that seem more... things that seem less tangible that are related to the past for you. I'm seeing something like the colors kind of seeping into where you are now, and there's a sense of setting boundaries to not allow that to hold you back, to not be living in the past. For some of you, you may be experiencing, maybe at times feeling like your thoughts are somewhat intrusive. I'm seeing this being worked on as well. I'm seeing this be related to past experiences. There's a sense of working on this. Yeah. I'm hearing denying access, because you're recognizing that if you're not setting boundaries with yourself, it's kind of pulling you into a place of sometimes confusion or feeling conflicted. if you allow certain things to return. So this really does feel like transcending a sense of nostalgia, because you're recognizing better uses of your time is what I'm getting. Oh, for some of you, there could be like an actual person from your past that tried to come through that you felt you needed to set boundaries with. Otherwise, you may have had some sort of dispute with this person. This would have been a scenario that kind of felt like history repeating itself if this was a person that came back, if it wasn't just memories and stuff, even though you could be reliving that through memories too. Yeah, it's like I'm seeing you be kind of overwhelmed. Like you may have learned something, or you may have caught word, or like received some type of clarity that opened you up to a situation, helped you see something you needed to see. And there's a sense of being like, knowing that you need time to yourself, knowing that maybe at times you feel a little bit stressed out by the outer conflict that leads to internal conflict, and like wanting to work on yourself. Like I'm seeing you just need time for yourself here, Sag. It's like you're working on the visions that you have. You don't want to be disrupted from what it is that you're working on. You're also setting boundaries with people. It's like when you don't want to go out, you're not going out. I'm seeing stuff like that. It's like making sure that you're actually allotting time for yourself to like sleep when you need to and do things like that. Trying to make some sort of like schedule or whatever work for you. I mean, it doesn't have to be a schedule necessarily, but it's like making sure that you're giving yourself the time that you need, like within quiet spaces and quiet time. And like, ooh, I'm hearing renunciation. Turning down things that you know are not going to be leading you towards what it is that you're building, what it is that you're creating, things that don't feel happy. It's like if you know that something isn't working towards the vision, this is about like not participating in those things. And sometimes you feel like it's a lot of work to be building what it is that you're building, to be pursuing what it is that you're pursuing. Just saw 1818 on the time. Yeah, until you gave yourself this time as well, something that you may not have been aware of or may not have been seeing was like there could have been attachments that you had. When I say attachments, we talk about things on a 3D, like on the physical plane that we feel attracted to and attached to in a way where we get so very caught up in our desires that they begin ruling our lives. And there could have been things that you were attached to that you weren't realizing how much it was affecting you. And I'm seeing Capricorn and Neptune tied in here together, and I'm seeing like there could have been things going on the 3D plane, that there was like illusion tied to it. Because when we talk about Neptune, we speak about like fogginess and not being able to see things clearly. Like when I'm seeing it next to the devil here, it's like really being in a fantasy space and being extremely ungrounded. And we all have Neptune somewhere in our charts. We can all be affected by that. We can also be affected by different people when we have like certain contacts in our synastry where it's like you're not really seeing everything, or like in your head it's very different than in reality how it actually is. And I'm seeing that until you gave yourself this time to like sit and think with yourself, or like we're less stressed out and you're relaxing more, like until you had that time to do this, which I'm seeing you're like setting time apart aside for yourself now, you may not have been realizing how much like ungrounded fantasies or attachments that you had were actually like affecting you on a whole. And now I'm seeing there be like an ability to now understand the gravity of certain desires and attachments that you were having and how they've been affecting you. And it's like really clearing the path for you to be able to see where it is that you're going and where you are as you stand. So that is what I'm getting here. We're going to leave it here, my friends. I would like to thank everybody for joining. Thank you for tuning in. I'm wishing everybody love and light and healing, and I hope to catch you guys next time.